let me introduce myself. My name is Andrew Brizuela, and I have with me my partner for this session, Mr. Justin Goodale. So
Hey,
say hi, Justin.
hey, what's up? I'm glad to be here. Good evening to all.
Yep. All right. So obviously this session, you know what this is about. We send an invite to people. We want to talk about stocks investing so that we can help people begin building their wealth. And one of the common ways to do that is through stocks investing. Now, before we go any further, I would like to clarify why the heck are we doing this? Because please know that Justin and I, we are not professionals, and we are not even the experts in this field, and we will never even claim that we are one of the biggest the best minds when it comes to stocks investing. The thing is, we are normal people. We are regular people who have, we make a living just like most of you, and we have kids, and I think this is one of the reasons why we align in doing this, because there's something that we would like to share to you guys. And the fact that we are not the experts, we are not brokers, we are not licensed financial advisors, is exactly the reason why we feel that we are the best people to talk to you. Beginners would actually learn a lot because we feel that we used to be in the same position as with most of you, where you know if you're here, you heard about stocks and you would like to learn more about it. You have no idea. We used to be in the same position, and we would like to, because we feel that we can relate more to that position. That's why we will be able to answer your questions, even the most basic ones. So that's why we are doing this. Other reasons why we invited you tonight. Um, just a disclaimer, we're not part of any financial company. We're not going to sell you anything, not even insurance. We're not part of any network marketing scheme. Really, believe it or not, we just want to do this because we just really want to do this. Maybe we have nothing else to do at this time, but the real reason is that um, we feel that there is an opportunity for us to share knowledge to people, just to create more awareness, more like planting the seed, because we could not possibly teach you everything. But this is just to pave the way for everyone that's joining us tonight, so that you could start becoming more familiar, to grow your interest about stocks investing. And who knows, one day you might be the one, baka kayo na magtuturo sa amin one day. Another reason, guys, is that this is also perfect timing. We could have done this a year ago. We could have done this 2 years ago. But why now? It's because of the current COVID-19 situation. A lot of industries have been affected, even the stock market. Siguro yung iba dito are not total beginners. Some of you have experience or might even more experience than us. And if you are one of those people, you can attest that right now market is red. And when market is red, that's the perfect opportunity to buy. But um, aside from the regular, uh, you know, drop in prices, this is something unprecedented. Ito yung pinaka mababang price that we could possibly enter. So that's why we would like people to take advantage of this opportunity, because we might not be able to see this kind of price in anytime soon, or we might not be able to see this price again. So those are the reasons. Do you have any questions so far?
None so far.
None so far? Okay, thank you. Um, Moving forward, so these are the basic things that we would like to cover now. Una, what is stock? Ano ba yung stock market? We hear it all the time, stock shares, but it's a very simple word, but we would like to be sure na by the end of this session, you can confidently or comfortably discuss what it is and what it is not. And other topics we would like to cover today or tonight is, how does it actually work? Paano ko ba kumikita? How do you actually make money out of it? Because sometimes it's like a mystery to people, and that's what we aim to change after tonight's session. And now that you are interested, you know how you can earn money. Paano ka magsisimula? Where do you put your money? So ito na, may pera na ako, I have savings. Paano natin siya gagawin? So that's what we're going to do today. And what are the types of shares you can buy? And kailan ka ba magbabay? Kailan ka ba magsisell? So those are the things that we would like to cover. So if you don't have any questions, I would just like to share this wonderful quote from one of our best investors, probably in our generation, Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett said that someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree long time ago. So it's very simple, yet very profound for us. Why? Because today we hope that this would be the start of you guys planting a seed, not just for yourself, but for your family, but maybe for the next generation, so that not only yourself, but them can also enjoy, the fruit of your sacrifices, the fruit of your efforts today. So that's coming from Warren Buffett. So now we can get started. So una pag-usapan muna natin yung stock, no. Um what is ano ba yung stock? Is something that we hear all the time, 'di ba? We hear it from the movies, we hear it from um we share stocks, right? We use it interchangeably, pero ano ba talaga siya? By definition, guys, stock, also known as equity, simply means a security that represents the ownership of a fraction of a corporation. So sa Tagalog, ibig sabihin lang yan, if you own a stock of a company or shares, you own uh, you are a part owner of the company, and the unit of stock are called shares. So for example, BDO, when we hear BDO, we normally say Henry C, right? The C family. But of course, they are not the only ones who own BDO. It's also divided between the shareholders. And though, regardless of the size, kahit if you are an employee or you're unemployed, you have your own business, if you bought shares of BDO, technically you can consider yourself as a shareholder, no matter how big or small. So any questions about that so far?
Yeah, if you have any questions sa mga viewers natin sa Facebook, feel free to post comments lang. We'll keep doing that.
All right. Yeah, feel free to mic up if you have some questions, right? But we'll also have a segment for us to entertain more questions for you, okay? Now, next. So, allow me to illustrate that better, no? So, let's call this lady si Beth. Si Beth, gusto niya magtayo ng coffee company. But she would need to raise 1 million pesos kasi kailangan niya ng pwesto, pasahod, kailangan niya ng ingredients for the next few months. But she doesn't have enough capital. So, nagtatayo siya ng company. She thought, kesa mag-ipon ako ng ilang taon para magkaroon ako ng puhunan, so I could finally start my business, yung coffee shop. She asked 3 other friends who have cash, tapos together they pull in their resources, pinagsama-sama nila yung pera nila, and they will now be able to start the business. Pero si Beth, instead of her owning the business herself, the other 3 friends will now be shareholders because they started the company together, and they will now have part ownership in the company. So very basic, right? Very straightforward. But in concept, that's really how the stock market works. Okay. Now, what is the stock market? As an introduction from that word itself, stock market. Stocks we already identified earlier. So yun yung pag-aari natin or portion of a company. Market, Tagalog, palengke. So no matter how fancy how complicated the stock market is, it doesn't change the fact that it is a market. In Tagalog, isa siyang palengke or isa siyang tinda. Palengke kung saan pwedeng mamili at pwedeng magbenta ng pag-aari ng isang company or shares. Yeah, we see all the fancy we see all the computer screens, so you see all the brokers, you see all the numbers. That's very intimidating, pero sa totoo lang, it's nothing but a market kung saan bibili ka lang ng pagbili nga ng 100 shares of BDO, I will sell my 20 shares of Jollibee. So it's really how simple the concept is. So if you don't have any questions, paano ba nagiging part ng buhay natin si stock market? So let's say I started a company or there is already an existing company. For me to raise capital, for me to raise funds, I will need to be registered in the Philippine Stock Exchange. And dati kasi sa Pilipinas, hindi lang isa yung stock market, hindi lang isa. For example, in the US, you have the New York Stock Exchange, in the Philippines before, we used to have not only Philippine Stocks Exchange, but there's also Makati Stocks Exchange, if I'm not mistaken. Pero right now, this is the only one we have. Now, company would need to be registered so that their shares can be sold and bought in the stock market. And then, para makarating siya sa mga ordinaryong tao or other investors, it has to go through a licensed broker. Kaya meron mga brokerage company where they are the middleman. So they are the licensed and authorized by the Philippine Stock Exchange, so they could help people sell and buy shares. So kumbaga, sila lang yung from the word itself, broker, so they arrange the transaction for us. And I think for the longest time, this is the understanding that we have when it comes to the stock market. Ito yung traditional, right? Na you have a broker and you will give them a call. Hey, I would like to share and buy this stock. But because of the change in technology, this has already changed. And that's also what we aim to discuss with you today, because you already have this at your fingertips. In fact, after this session, you can already do it in the convenience of your mobile phones or even with your laptops. So before we go any further, gusto ko lang i-discuss paano ba nagkakaroon ng pera yung tao? How do you actually earn from the stock market? Kasi ito naman yung pinaka question ng mga tao, 'di ba? Paano tayo kumikita sa stock market? So I'll give you a classic example, no? So namamasyal ka, nakita mo merong piece of land, bakante pa siya, wala pang bahay, and it's for sale back in 2008. Tapos nag-inquire ka, sabi, you can buy 100 square meters of that area for 10,000 pesos per square meters. Okay. So that means na kung gusto mong mabili if you want to buy that, it would have cost you 1 million pesos. Okay. Right. Now, wala ka namang ginawa, you went ahead with your life. After 12 years, currently in 2020, the same piece of land got developed. So nagtayo ng mga mall, ng mga stores in the same piece of land. Hindi naman lumaki yung lupa mo, it's still 100 square meters. But when people ask around, how much is the value of a piece of land in the same location, sabi hindi na siya 10,000 per square meters. Ang sabi, it's now at least 16,000 per square meters. So ano nangyari doon? This is a classic example na you bought something at a lower price, but you held the same quantity, 100 square meters pa rin naman yung pag-aari mo, but after a time, it appreciated in value. Again, I would like to reiterate na hindi lumaki yung lupa mo, it's still the same piece of land. And after many years, in this example, after 12 years, what you paid for 1 million pesos would now be equivalent to 1.6 million. Of course, this is a very basic example, and it would mean that if this happened in real life, whoever this owner is would have gained 60% from the original value, or at least 600,000 pesos. So that's basically how people earn from the stock market. Similar to this example. Okay, I'll give you another example, guys. Yung lolo mo or siguro yung tito mo in 1963, nakabili siya ng one of the first edition of the Amazing Fantasy, first appearance ni Spider-Man. Tapos tago niya sa cabinet niya in mint condition. And he only paid for 30 cents during that time. Okay. Now, in 2016, that same comic book was actually auctioned for $454,000. Siguro, swerte mo, napagbukas mo ng drawer, nakita mo yan, preserve siya. If you're that lucky, then it means that you would have earned $453,000, which means na yung appreciation ng value is 151 million % gain. Pero come to think of it, it was just something bought at a lower price back in 1963, auctioned or sold in 2016 for a higher price. So you bought it at a lower price, you sold it at a higher price. Pero in this example, napakahaba nung time frame natin, no, na from decades ang pinag-uusapan. But let me give you another example where it's a lot more recent. Siguro naman in 2009, buhay na kayo niyan. Some of you might already be working. I remember I was already working in 2009. Let's say nagkaroon ka ng bonus or meron kang Christmas 13-month pay or meron ka lang savings or for some reason you have extra 10,000 pesos. If you entered the stock market and specifically bought shares of BDO in 2009, at the time, it only would cost you 28 pesos and 20 centavos per share. So ibig sabihin, kapag binili mo yung 10,000 pesos, you would be able to buy at least 355 shares of BDO. Okay? Siguro naulaan nyo na where it's heading. No? So present, in 2009, after 10 years, siguro nakalimutan mo na to, you got busy with your life. Yung pag-check mo, magkano na kaya yung value ng shares na binili ko from BDO, no? Actually, in 2009, May 2009 to be exact, from 28 pesos, it now increased in value to 135 pesos and 90 centavos per shares. Pero yung hawak mo nun is still the same amount. It's still 355 shares, pero tumaas na lang yung value niya. Hindi dumami yung shares mo, but its value increased. So, gumastos ka nung time na yon, 10 years ago or 11 years ago, for 10,000 pesos. If you sold it in 2009, you would have sold it for 48,244 pesos and 50 centavos. And that means even if you didn't do anything, you would have earned 38,000 pesos or 382% gain. So these three are my examples of how people can buy something at a lower price and sell it at a higher price. Okay. Pero alam, ang ganda ng example na binigay ko, no, na it's always a success story, right? Na parang bumili ka ngayon, tapos hintayin mo lang, and then you sell it for a higher price. But we also would like to give you a quick disclaimer, guys, that in real life, it doesn't always work the same way, na palagi siyang pataas. Kasi let it be clear na the market can fluctuate, although ultimately they still go up in value, but there are situations just like what we have right now in 2020 where it doesn't always, become a happy ending. Going back to our example kanina, no, in 2019, you could buy one share of BDO for 135 pesos. Now, let's say, noong 2019 ka lang nag-start, and you still bought 10,000 pesos worth of shares, ang mabibili mo for that price would only be 74 shares. So that's why there is also a time factor na yung 10,000 pesos bought in 2009 would have been converted to 355 shares. Pero if you started too late, like last year, it would only give you 74 shares. Napakalaki ng difference, no? 74 lang mabibili mo compared sa mabibili mo 10 years ago. Pero guys, something happened and I think you all know what happened. January, February, March, April, and not right now, May, COVID-19 happened, changed a lot of lives. And of course, the stock market and BDO was not spared. So if you bought this, yung 10,000 pesos mo worth of 74 shares would only be equivalent to 6,320 pesos because the price dropped from 135 pesos per share to 85 pesos. So again, we would like to clarify that hindi siya palaging pataas just because lumipas yung oras eh. And sometimes it would go up, it would go down drastically, it would go up, go down, it will fluctuate. Medyo hindi ganun ka-drastic yung changes, but there are situations like this na napakalaki ng drop, right? It's 37% decrease in value in just a matter of 1 year. And instead of looking at it on a negative way, if you have not yet started buying shares of companies, if you haven't really started investing in the stock market, ito yung feeling namin na perfect opportunity for you to do it because if you were to do it a year ago, you would only be able to buy fewer shares, but right now you could do it more. You could buy more, diba, for the same amount. Pero I also would like to reiterate here that we are not giving anyone a guarantee na if you bought now in 2020, May 2020, after a few months or weeks or even after a year, the price would go up na. We are not fortune tellers. The situation can get better, but it can also get worse. Pero ang example lang kasi natin dito is that back in 2009, it was uh, selling for 28 pesos but right now it's relatively low at 85 pesos, but still a lot higher than how it was 12 years ago. So etong
Yeah.
mga yeah.
That comes to this is an opportunity to answer one of the questions earlier sa mga kaibigan ko nagtanong. Is it a good time to buy now? This is this is always my answer to that, no. If you buy today, you are in a better position than most of the people investing in the stock market now, because most people, if you know, the market went 1,000, yung index natin, no.
Yep.
The way to measure up the economy, the stock market, and we were up there at 8,000, 7,000, and a lot of people bought shares during those period. 7,000 and 8,000 pa yung market, and now the market is around 5,500. Now, maybe for some people they don't understand what I'm talking about, no, about the PSE index. But again, if you buy now, this is you are in a better position than most people. So I wouldn't say na hindi bababa, like what Andrew is saying. We're not saying na hindi na ito yung panahon na bumili kasi pataas ang market. The market could still go down, but again, if you buy now, you are in a better position than most of the people.
Yep, I think that's well said, Justin. No, thank you so much for adding some pointers. I think what we would like to clarify is that this situation, let's say, example pa rin natin si BDO, it could go up, it could go down, pero all we're trying to say here is that there are people who were in much worse situation, especially those who bought a few months ago in December or those who bought a year ago. Kasi nga, the index was at 7,000, now it's 5,000. Ibig sabihin lang nun, guys, mas pangit si stock market ngayon compared to those who bought prior to us at this moment. Pero pwede ba, ito na ba yung bottom price? Bababa na ba? Nasa bottom na ba siya? Will it go up? I don't have a crystal ball to tell you that. Pero all I know is that this is a perfect opportunity, not just to actually buy, but this is the perfect opportunity for you to start investing in general, not just in the stock market, but stock market is really one of the best ways to go. But it's about time for us to start accumulating assets, because I've learned the hard way that those people who were not scared in 2008, 2009, imagine yung if yung mga nagtatrabaho na siguro nito or those who already had money, imagine if you have 1,000,000 pesos or 50,000 pesos and you bought 28 pesos worth of share. Yes, bumaba siya ngayon, no? Pero even with that situation, you're still up times 4 or times 3 kahit na mag-drop siya to 85. So still is a perfect opportunity for us to buy. So do we have any questions or any clarifications before I go to the next item? Wala naman? Okay. So yung tatlong example na binigay natin, the BDO shares, the piece of land that you bought at a lower price, you sold it at a higher value, same as with the comic book nung lolo mo. Yung tatlong example na yon is what we call capital gains. So by definition, it simply means a profit from the sale of property or an investment. So kung bumili ka noong 1980s ng isang set ng Transformer toys, you kept it in good condition, you sold it right now because it's a hot collector item for some reason, then that's called capital gains. Diba? Kung bumili ka ng, if you bumili ka ng alcohol nung 2019, tapos nagpanic yung mga tao in 2020, you sold it times 3 ng price, diba? Despite sa itatawag sa inyo ng mga tao, you can't deny the fact that that is considered a capital gain. So, yun yung mga example. You buy low and then you sell high. Another way for you to earn from the stock market is through dividends. So, this is a bit more traditional. What are dividends and why are companies doing that? So dividends, simply put, are the share of a company's earnings that are paid to stockholders, especially if you have a lot of shares from a particular company based on their financial performance, if they made a lot of profit. So ito yung paraan nila to say thank you to their stockholders. It's also a strategy so that they could attract more people, especially kapag kilala yung mga companies na maganda magbigay yan ng dividends per share. So more people will be willing to buy their shares, more capital, and of course it will result to better funding. Dividends, hindi siya ganun kalaki, but what I have here on the screen, ito yung example lang na nakita ko. Please forgive me. Medyo hindi siya ganun ka-recent, but back in 2018, this is a snapshot of what the companies paid for per share sa mga stockholders. Okay? So again, just a quick review. You can earn by buying a piece of share or piece of companies through purchase of shares. You could sell at a higher price. Or you could keep your shares and allow the dividends to be paid back to you. Okay? Any questions so far? If there is none, then probably, sige, gusto ko na yung stock market. How do I become a stock trader? Kahit bukas na bukas, pwede ko na siyang gawin. I'm so hype right now. Diba? Gusto ko na siyang gawin. What we would like to share is that based on studies, 80% of stock traders actually lose their money. So, ba't ganun? Kung nalulugi pala yung mga tao for trading stocks, bakit nyo pa kami ini-encourage to do that? Para, what's your agenda? And this is where the topic becomes a little more interesting because we invited you guys so that you can become stock investors rather than stock traders. And ito yung difference natin. Kasi normally people would use the term trading and investing, lalo na sa stock market, interchangeably. But we created a table where we could show you yung pagkakaiba. Okay. And again, there's nothing wrong about being a trader. I have met a lot of people who are very good traders. I did trading for a time, and in fact, we have here people who join us who I know are very good traders. And of course, Justin is a very active trader, not just with stocks but also with other assets like cryptocurrencies. When you're a trader, in terms of time frame, you plan for a short period. So ito yung mga nababalitaan natin na they buy in the morning, they sell at lunchtime, or they sell in the afternoon. Sometimes they hold their position for a few days or weeks. Pero most of the time, it's a very short period because they need to go in and out of their positions. They need to buy and sell in a short period of time. But when you are an investor, you plan for a longer time, maybe for a few months, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, or even several years. I have seen people who were able to discipline themselves to keep their position in stocks for many years. Pagdating naman sa risk, I think it's no surprise that when you are a trader, you are dealing with a lot of risk because you are not only buying, selling a lot, but you are also dwelling into other companies. Kasi kung, for example, if I'm gonna ask you to, if I'm gonna give all of you 50,000 pesos right now, buy shares of companies, probably you would choose companies that you know, like Jollibee, BDO, DMCI, or Metro Bank, very established companies. But when you're a trader, you also deal with new companies, startup companies, and sometimes yung mga risk kasi nandun dun sa mga companies that are very volatile. Kaya mas mataas ang risk exposure if you are a trader. Okay. When it comes to the returns, of course, higher risk would mean higher reward. If you're an investor, medyo minimize yung risk. Siyempre, sa buhay, kung wala ka talagang sacrifice, wala kang risk, konti lang din yung possible returns mo. When it comes to decision, normally when you're an investor, you are not just investing because, or you're not making your purchase because of the um, price movements of the chart or the charts. You would normally base it on the condition of the company, market perception. If I tell you, is Jollibee a good company? Yes. And usually yun yung mga decision natin based on fundamental factors. But when you're a trader, sometimes they don't normally refer to the news. Sometimes they do, but most of the time they base it on the price movements, kaya gumagamit tayo ng mga indicators or charts so that they could predict the whether sa pupunta yung price. Will it go up? Will it go down? And that will be the basis of their decisions whether they would buy or sell. Okay. Usually when you're a trader, malakas loob mo because you know where the price is going. That's why you have the confidence to borrow funds. Sometimes there are analysts or traders who would leverage, they would use other people's money so that kapag kumita siya or they made the right decision, then multiply din yung earnings. But when you're an investor, normally you use your own funds because you are basically using money that you can afford to lose. And last but not the least, when it comes to safety, we encourage beginners to start with investing first so that you get the feel on how it feels to, how it's like to buy your first share of a company rather than risking all of your money. But when you're a trader and you have experience, then ang focus nito is to really to have more gains na kasi. So, which is better, investor or a trader? To be honest, we are not in a position to say it's always good to invest because I have met a lot of traders na they do this for a living, but let it be clear that if you want to be a trader, hindi siya yung parang overnight kasi that's what we are trying to change in terms of perception na hindi yung bumili ka ng shares you will be rich overnight. Sometimes if it's too good to be true, probably it is. If you want to be a trader, then it's actually a career. You need to study charts, you need to learn to read, you need to practice, and it will be a lot of trial and errors. So again, for beginners, I highly encourage to start investing muna before trading. Okay. Anyone else who would like to share? Justin?
That's a very good concept to give, no. In my case, I am both an investor and a trader. So I have this itong funds na to, no. And I split my funds between investing to some companies, and I choose to trade naman to day trade some of the other companies. So itong funds ko I split and they don't touch each other. No? Kasi itong investing you are looking for the long term, and for day trading ito yung pang-grocery namin, no? Kung tama yung decision ko, kung tama yung reading ko sa charts, araw din as a trader na natalo. And that's something that I don't dwell on kasi I've been trading for 4 years now. And for the first year, second year, I was very emotional into trading. But as you practice into it, like sinabi ni Andrew, you get to practice also not to be too emotional about your trades. So the benefit of to be an investor kasi is that you trust these investments to grow. Whether itong short-term na movements, like yung BDO was 100 yesterday, dumating yung COVID, bumagsak ng 80. Those are the things that you don't worry about as an investor because long-term, you know that it's going up. And for the day traders, that's something naman that excites you, the volatility. Because the day trader, as the word says, day, you get to buy something in the morning and before mag-close ang markets, you get to sell it. And you want the volatility to maximize your profits. So you can be both an investor and a trader, but tama si Andrew that we recommend as a starter to invest first.
Yep. Thank you so much, Justin, for sharing your experiences. By the way, I forgot to mention, Justin, is not just an investor, but he is also one of the experienced traders I know. Sa kanya rin ako nagtatanong minsan. Aside from that, he is also an entrepreneur. So he has his own laundry shop. He has a chain of milk tea shops, and he's also doing online marketing. Kaya maybe itong trading is just one of his sources of income, but one of my go-to guys when it comes to consultation about stock market. So pinopromote ko na siya. If you want to ask questions, you can probably reach out to him as well. Okay,
O,
thanks Justin for sharing.
sisingilin na kita sa susunod mong tanong.
Okay, so now that we understand what the stock market is, paano yung possible way for us to earn money, o paano na, how do I do it now? Here's my money, right? Sabi ko before, this is the traditional way. You could contact a brokerage company, they could trade and they could buy and sell for you. But because of the advancement in technology, meron na kasing internet and we have applications and websites, uh, there are there's now an option for you to do it yourself. Meaning, pwede ka nang bumili ng sarili mong shares. Ibig sabihin ba nun wala ka ng broker? Technically speaking, meron ka pa ring broker, but the decision is yours. Ikaw na yung magpe-place ng order, ikaw na yung bibili ng shares mo. And three examples that are very popular, or I'm not sure if we are limited into these three because there might be more that I am not aware of, but these are the three common ones. One is CitySec Online, stockbrokers. We have BDO Nomura, and of course, you have BPI Trade. If you have a BPI account or if you have a BDO Nomura, it's more convenient for you to actually purchase or make your first investment in the stock market using these platforms. So we're not here to promote any one of them. I use both BDO and BPI. Justin is using CitySec, and we're not here to compare which is better. Pero for us to have a snapshot, guys, I would just like to share yung difference ng tatlo, no? We're not saying one is better than the other, but in terms of registration and funding, I personally use BDO Nomura because if you are going to sign up and create your account, you don't need to go out and sign a form. Kasi yun yung iniiwasan ko. I didn't want to go out. Lalo na ngayon, di ba? We are in the quarantine period. If you have a BDO savings account or BDO online banking account, the same login or the same credentials can be used to sign up to BDO Nomura. In fact, yung pera mo dun sa BDO online banking can be used to purchase stocks. Kaya ganun siya kadali. Now, for this information might be outdated kasi because of the quarantine, CitySec Online or BPI Trade might have changed the need for a signed form. Yung pipirma, fill up ka ng form, tapos magsa-sign up ka at you need to submit it. Yun kasi yung iniiwasan ko, no? So that's why I preferred si BDO Nomura. When it comes to funding, just like my example earlier, I don't want to have to line up in the stock. Ayoko na yung pumila, ayoko na mag sa bangko. So it's very easy for me to go through BPI and BDO kasi it allows online deposit. Okay? So ito yung itsura. For example, if you're signing up with BPI Trade, you just need to create your account. Ito yung link sa baba. Retype your password. So everything's online. But the last time I did it with BPI kasi years ago, they required me to print this out and submit to a nearby BPI branch. Hopefully, they have changed that already. But for CitySec Online, ganito rin, mag-fill up ka rin ng form and then you need to submit it physically. Okay. All right. Okay. Sige nga, magsa-sign up ako bukas. Ano yung pwede nating billing companies, right? Unfortunately, guys, that's not the purpose of this session. In reality, no one can actually predict the price of stocks. And I would be foolish to tell you, guys, bili kayo Jollibee, bili kayo ng BDO, bili kayo ng Metrobank, 'di ba? Pero if that's the case, why did we invite you? We're here to actually share how you can get started. What companies you buy would depend on these factors. Number one is how much time am I willing to spend? It means na if you are busy, if you're a housewife or if you're taking care of your kids, you are busy with your career and you only have probably what you can only allot 1 hour per week to do this, then it means that you might as well stick to the safe investments. When I say safe, those are the established blue chip companies na you know that in the next 30 to 50 years, they probably would still be around. Diba? Not because someone told you na may alam akong bagong company and they are very hot right now. Ano to? About green energy or about solar panels. Diba? Just because someone said that to you doesn't mean that you should buy it. Diba? And the next question here is that how much money am I willing to lose? So this is a very interesting question kasi if you don't have a lot to lose, if you don't have a lot to invest, it means na you can never lose that money. 'Di ba? Why would you risk buying companies that you're not sure that will grow, 'di ba? Especially if you did not spend enough time researching on that company. So these two will always go hand in hand. How much time are you willing to spend? Willing ka bang mag-research? Willing ka bang magbasa ng financial performance of a company to see if they are in good condition? Or how much capital are you willing to lose? Kasi kung if you can afford, let's say 2,000, 3,000, or 10,000 pesos a month or every payday and you want to set it aside, then you might as well just play it safe, di ba? And choose companies that you know that will still be around in the next few years. So as a quick comparison, guys, no, options that we have is that you can buy blue shares of blue chip companies. All these brands, all these logos must be very familiar with you. These are very established companies, and we're not promoting any one of them, but this is a fact that BDO, Meralco, you know all of this. Um, but you can also invest in startup companies. I did it for a time. I still did it not so long ago. But the comparison here is that, of course, if you buy shares of blue chip companies, lower risk kasi I trust PLDT, I trust URC, I trust the BDO would probably still be around in the next decades to come. Pero I cannot expect that they would still grow further. That's why the reward is not expected to be big. Pero if you have high tolerance for risk and you feel that okay lang naman kahit mawala na tong peran to, and you would like to invest in startup companies, or not really startups but companies that are relatively new, maybe a few years in the business, and they are already registered in the stock market, go ahead. Higher risk, but if you play it well and it become a big business. Imagine if you invested in Facebook, no, a decade ago, or if you're one of those who invested in YouTube back in 2005, imagine the shares of the companies, diba? In the US, if you invested in Tesla, to the last time I checked, from $200 to $300, umabot siya ng $900 per share. So almost 3 times yung value niya. Okay, so I think this is very basic. Blue chip companies, lower risk pero lower potential for reward. Startup companies, higher risk, higher reward. Pero again, the reason why I'm here in front of you talking to you kasi even the blue chip companies that we know, SM, BPI, Robinsons, even San Miguel, natamaan pa rin sila ng blue chip companies eh. In a regular day or in a normal day, kung wala tayong COVID, hindi masyado magfa-fluctuate yung prices nila. But in my example earlier, a real example, which was BDO, from 130 pesos, naging 85 pesos. So that's why may opportunity tayo to buy because baka hindi maging applicable yung low lang yung reward, because there's a potential that reward might be high even if you invest in blue chip companies. Okay. Sorry guys, I just need to make sure that my battery is charged. Okay. When is the perfect time to buy? When do I sell? Well, we don't know. We just feel that the market price right now, parang naka-sale kasi lahat eh. And will it bababa pa ba siya or tataas pa siya? I don't know. If you don't know and I don't know, then we can introduce you with the concept of cost averaging. So it means na kung ngayong araw na to, share of BDO is 85 pesos. Sorry, I have not checked it today. 85 pesos. Binili mo siya using your 10,000 pesos. Kaso bumaba siya bukas. Sabihin mo sa akin, Andrew, sabi mo sa akin, ibili ko na lahat ng video. If I waited at binili ko siya bukas, edi sana mas marami ako nabili, right? But that's why we are applying the concept of cost averaging. Kung may pera ka, if you would like to buy, hindi mo siya i-all in. It means hindi mo siya ibibili lahat at one time. What you're gonna do is that you are going to control yourself. Again, yung term ni Justin, not be emotional. You will buy it in a different time frame. For example, this month, ito lang muna yung bibilin ko, 5,000 pesos. Next month, basically, hahati-hatiin mo yung funds mo so that even if nagfa-fluctuate yung price, tumaas siya, bumaba siya, hindi ka rin affected. Kasi gaya ng example ko kanina, sabi ko, bili ka na ngayon yung 10,000 pesos, maibili mo na ng shares of BDO kasi ang price niya ngayon is 85, right? What if tomorrow naman, tumaas siya? So sasabihin ko sa iyo ngayon, o di ba, buti na lang bumili ka kasi tomorrow tumaas na siya, edi sana mas konti na lang yung nabili mo. But the reality is, I really don't know, and you don't know what the price would be unless you are a very experienced speculator, diba? But if you don't have the time to study charts, or if you don't have the time to be exposed in this volatility, you might as well just do cost averaging. So bumibili ka in different time frames, maybe weekly or monthly, para kahit mag-fluctuate man yung price, nag-average lang siya. Okay? Okay. If you don't have any questions, cost averaging for investors, kailan naman magbebenta? Okay? Let's say meron kang 50,000 pesos, binili mo siya ng BDO shares for 50 pesos each. Tapos pagising mo kanina umaga, hey Andrew, ano na, yung shares, ano na, from 50 pesos naging 70 pesos na. Oh, talaga, yung 50,000 pesos na binili mo is now worth 70,000. Anong gagawin ko? Bebenta ko na ba siya? Yeah, sure, go ahead. Because that's 20,000 pesos already or 40% profit, di ba? Go ahead. Pero, paano kung pagkabenta mo, tomorrow, instead of 70 pesos, tumaas siya to 75. E di kamot ka ngayon. Sayang pala, I should have waited. But again, we don't know eh. So similar to the concept of buying in tranches or buying in tranches, you can also apply the same concept when it comes to selling. When you have already earned, it might be a good idea na hindi mo siya ibebenta lahat kasi sayang eh, pwede mo masakyan yung pagtaas pa niya ng price. In this example, sa taas, binenta niya agad lahat-lahat. Sa baba, yung 1,000 shares niya, binenta niya in 5 different. Pero let's say, hinintay mo from 70 pesos, after a few weeks, tumaas siya ulit 75. So good thing kasi hindi mo siya binenta lahat because nag-benefit ka pa dun sa further increase in price. Pero paano naman kung sumunod bumaba naman siya, 'di ba? Okay lang din kasi nakapagbenta ka naman na mas maaga at a higher price. So ang concept lang dito is that if you earn from the stock market, you don't sell right away because hindi mo alam kung pwede kang mag-benefit pa, baka tumaas pa siya lalo. But pwede rin siya bumaba. Pero the reason why you're doing it in tranches so that you can minimize your exposure to risk because of the volatility. Kasi in this example na ginawa ko, na dahil hinati-hati niya, in the end, mas malaki pa rin naman yung kinita niya. Kasi because of the fluctuations, nag-benefit siya dun sa mga movements na yun. Okay?
Something to add on, no?
Sure.
If you miss out on profits, let's say nga na 70 pesos, nagbenta ka, you gain 40%, and the next day naging 75, you miss out on an additional 10%. Think of it as there will be always another opportunity, another trade in the future. Don't think of it as a missed opportunity. Lagi sinasabi ng kapatid ko whenever we talk, and sinasabi ko sayang yung nabenta ko agad yung shares ko. Ang sabi lang sa akin ng kapatid ko is profit is profit. So let's not forget we are here for the profit. If it's out an opportunity, don't worry, there is always another opportunity.
Yep. Thank you. Siguro when we do our other sessions, I will also share my experiences, maybe not just in the stock market, but also in the cryptocurrency scene. So that's about it, guys. That's our introduction when it comes to investing in the stock market. Ito lang, guys. Just a few reminders, no? Again, paulit-ulit ko sinasabi, please do your due diligence. We are here. We'd like to talk to you even offline after this. Let's discuss, share knowledge. We also would like to learn from you. Pero let's make sure we have our due diligence kasi ang dami kong kilala na because someone told them na bili ka nito, it's a good investment without researching, without uh, getting second opinion. Talagang they just followed whatever is being said to them. Kaya nga, I really discourage you from listening to people, yung mga subscription. Kasi kahit nagbabayad ka, no one can guarantee that they are making the right decision for you. Okay. Use money you can afford to lose. It's good to invest in stocks, but please make sure you don't bet your life on it. Imagine if you bought in 2019. Imagine kung nasan ka na ngayon, right? But you can turn this situation to your advantage. If you have extra money, if you instead of you buying other liabilities or buying other stuff you won't need, go ahead invest in stocks. But those should be money you can afford to lose. Okay. Last but not the least is avoid FOMO or fear of missing out. Just because nabalitaan mo yung mga kaibigan mo, they all bought shares of these companies or they're doing this, susunod ka. Again, it goes back to having your due diligence kasi minsan I learned it the hard way, not just with stocks but also with investing in cryptocurrencies na by the time na sumikat na ang isang investment, whether stocks ba yan, it means na it could be overpriced already kasi sikat na nga siya, marami nang bumibili. So baka na-miss mo na yung opportunity at humahabol ka na lang. And normally, that's how you get burned in investing. So please make sure to have your due diligence. Other tips you would like to add, Justin, before we end our session tonight?
No, actually, I'm very happy. I'm very happy with the response that we got here. No tips. If we're going to have part of this, if you think that we deserve to have another get together and talk about investing, please let us know, and maybe we can talk about more things there.
Yeah. May sagot lang si Art kay kay Michelle about insight nyo po sa IPO Mary Mart. Sabi ni Art, daw? Overpriced daw. I don't know. Art, ikaw na bahala dyan. All right.
Hayaan ko lang yan until mag-settle lang talaga isang price, then there, not during the IPO.
Okay. So guys, I would like to thank all of you. I know we extended for more than 10 minutes. I really appreciate you staying here with us. I know that it's Wednesday evening, and thank you so much for spending your time. If you, just like what Justin said, if you feel that you would like to have another session, maybe for you, different topic naman tayo, or you feel that there are people that miss out on tonight's session na gusto nyo i-repeat natin for them, just reach out to us. We'll be happy to do it. Anyway, the reason why we're doing this is for the community. We would just like to give back. No benefit for us, but knowing that we're able to plant some seeds for you so you can get started. And then by that, happy na kami. And with that, I would like to end this session with, again, another quote from Warren Buffett. Yeah, the secret to wealth is simple. Just be fearful when others are greedy, and be greedy when others are fearful. Napakasimple lang guys, di ba? During the situation, just like what we have right now, people are scared. They hold on to their cash because they need to buy supplies, they need to buy food for their family. But if you have extra, don't be scared. Just because bagsak kasi ngayon stock market, iiwasan ko na siya. But for some people who are able to make fortunes, they take advantage of situations or the opportunities when everyone else is afraid. And this is applicable not just with the stock market, but everything else in life. Kapag takot sila, that's when you should be aggressive. But at the same time, when everyone is becoming greedy, when everyone is buying the same stocks, buying same assets, medyo matakot ka na kasi you might be at the peak already, tas pabagsak na siya. So be greedy when everyone is fearful, but be fearful when everyone else are greedy. Again, guys, thank you so much for spending your evening with us. We enjoyed this session. I hope that you were able to pick up a few things. If you would like to have another session, reach out to us. We'll be happy to do it again for you. If you have other questions na hindi namin na-address, gusto nyo ituloy yung session, you can also reach out to us privately. You can send us a message. Then we'll be happy to talk to you again soon.